When we look at the night sky, at the immensity of space, it's easy to be enchanted by the beauty of the planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, each with its majesty. And far away, almost at the limit of what we can see, there exists Uranus, an ice giant, light blue, serene, almost ethereal. It seems calm, an oasis of tranquility in the confines of the solar system. But this peaceful appearance is one of the best-told lies in the universe. Behind that Pacific facade, Uranus hides a reality so violent, so chaotic, that it defies our imagination and transforms what we know about distant worlds into a true cosmic nightmare. Today, we're not just going to visit Uranus, we're going to dive into its darkest secrets. I'm going to take you on a journey to uncover the 5 most absolutely horrifying facts about this ice giant. We're going to discover that its calm is an illusion that covers scars from a cataclysmic past and a present of pure climatic and geological insanity. Prepare yourself because today's journey is going to be intense. We're going to explore a world where night can last a lifetime and where the planet itself seems to have been beaten nearly to death. What you're about to hear aren't just scientific facts, they're the echoes of a planetary nightmare, a reminder of how brutal and absolutely terrifying the universe can be. So, if you have courage, come with me. Let's face the terror that hides behind the blue beauty of Uranus. Sometimes the most frightening monsters aren't in fiction, but orbiting the same star as us. Just imagine the scene. Billions of years ago, in a young and chaotic solar system, Uranus orbited the Sun like any other planet, standing upright, with its rotation axis almost vertical, just like Earth. It spun like a top, with days and nights happening regularly across its entire globe. It was a world in formation, perhaps even a bit more normal. But the universe, as we know, is a violent place, and Uranus's destiny was about to be rewritten in the most brutal way possible. At some point in its history, something colossal the size of Earth itself, perhaps even larger, came in its direction. It wasn't a scrape, it wasn't a push. It was a cataclysmic impact, a collision of epic proportions that hit the ice giant with a force our minds can barely conceive. The energy released was so absurd, so unimaginable, that it didn't just open a wound in the planet, but literally knocked it down. Uranus's axis was tilted at 98 degrees. Think about that. It's as if Earth were hit with such force that the North Pole would point directly at the Sun. Uranus no longer spins like a top. It rolls like a bowling ball around the Sun. This bizarre inclination, this scar from a violent past, completely transformed the way the planet experiences its seasons. And this is where the true horror begins. A year on Uranus lasts 84 Earth years, and because of this inclination, the seasons are taken to a terrifying extreme. Imagine a summer that lasts 21 years. Not just longer days, but a summer where the sun never sets. 21 years of constant sunlight, cooking one side of the planet without mercy. And if there's an eternal summer, there's its opposite. A winter that also lasts 21 years. 21 years of absolute darkness, of a cold that freezes the very soul, where the sun is just a distant memory. But the worst isn't even the extreme summer or winter. The worst is what happens at the poles. Because of the way Uranus rolls in its orbit, each pole of the planet faces a period of 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of total darkness. Think about what this means. Being born and living an entire life without ever seeing the sun set, only to then be plunged into a night that lasts longer than many people's life expectancy here on Earth. The 42-year darkness isn't just the absence of light, it's an abyss, a period of time so long that generations could be born and die without ever knowing the warmth or sight of the sun. It's an invitation to madness. There's a type of cosmic isolation that makes us question our very sanity. It's a broken world, permanently wounded, forced to live with the consequences of violence that happened eras ago. This isn't an exotic characteristic. It's a sentence, a condemnation to an eternal cycle of unbearable extremes. A night that lasts 42 years isn't just an astronomical fact. It's the scenario of a cosmic horror film happening for real right now, billions of miles away. And this is just the beginning of the nightmare. If Uranus's exterior is already proof of its traumatic past, what happens inside is even more disturbing. Every planet with a magnetic field, like our Earth, has a kind of shield. This shield protects us from solar radiation, and its magnetic poles are relatively aligned with the geographical poles. It's an ordered, predictable system, but in Uranus, order doesn't exist. Its magnetic field isn't a shield, it's an open and pulsating wound. While Uranus's rotation axis is tilted at 98 degrees, its magnetic field is even more bizarre. It's inclined almost 60 degrees relative to this already tilted axis. It's like having a compass inside a washing machine running on spin cycle. It makes no sense at all. Uranus's magnetic north pole is closer to its geographical equator than to its geographical north pole. It's a complete mess. And to make everything worse, the center of this magnetic field isn't at the center of the planet. It's displaced as if Uranus's magnetic heart had been pushed to the side by that colossal impact that knocked it over. This combination of extreme inclination and displacement creates the most chaotic and unstable magnetosphere in the entire solar system. It's a force field that blinks, that contorts, that opens and closes in a completely unpredictable way. This instability has visual consequences as beautiful as they are terrifying. Uranus's auroras. On Earth, the northern and southern lights are light spectacles concentrated at the poles. On Uranus, because of this messed-up magnetic field, auroras can appear anywhere. They dance across the sky in unexpected places, blinking like strobe lights in a cosmic storm, a visible sign of the chaos that reigns inside the planet. This crazy magnetosphere isn't just a strange phenomenon, it's dangerous. It fails to protect the planet consistently. High-energy particles from the solar wind manage to penetrate this faulty defense and bombard Uranus's atmosphere, altering its chemistry and temperature. It's like having a shield full of holes during a battle. Protection is an illusion, and the planet is constantly being wounded by cosmic radiation. Scientists believe this bizarre magnetic field isn't just a consequence of the ancient impact. It's actively generated by something very strange happening in the depths of Uranus. Something that defies our laws of planetary physics. The source of this magnetic chaos is so alien, so exotic, that it leads us directly to our next horrifying fact. What hides beneath the blue clouds of the ice giant? Uranus's magnetic field is a symptom that the planet's interior is a place where the rules we know simply don't apply. It's proof that the violence we see on the surface is just a reflection of an even stranger and more incomprehensible hell that exists in its core. A magnetic heart that doesn't beat rhythmically but convulses in eternal agony. If you could survive the 42-year night, the maddened magnetic field, and the superionic ice ocean, Uranus would still have one last invisible trap for you. Its radiation belts. Just like Earth has the Van Allen belts, Uranus also captures high-energy particles in its magnetic field. But like everything on this planet, its radiation belts are strange and much more dangerous than they should be. When the Voyager 2 probe passed by Uranus in 1986, it made an alarming discovery. The planet's radiation belts were surprisingly intense. So intense that if an astronaut had been aboard, they would have received a lethal dose of radiation in a matter of minutes. This radiation is a deadly invisible threat, a minefield that surrounds the entire planet, ready to fry the circuits of any unsuspecting probe and annihilate any form of life that dares to come close. What makes these belts so scary isn't just their intensity, but the mystery surrounding them. On planets like Jupiter and Saturn, radiation belts are fed by a constant flow of particles from their volcanic moons, like Io, or from the solar wind. But on Uranus, the solar wind is weak and its moons are small, icy bodies, apparently inactive. So where does all this radiation come from? This is one of the great unanswered questions about Uranus. The planet has a system of dark, thin rings and 27 known moons. The main theory is that the rings themselves and the inner moons are somehow feeding these deadly belts. High-energy particles collide with the icy surface of moons and rings, tearing off more particles and creating a cascade effect that intensifies radiation to dangerous levels. This transforms Uranus's moons into something sinister. They're not just silent companions of the ice giant, they may be the sources of its radioactive poison. Each of these small moons, like Miranda, Ariel, and Titania, may be contributing to create this invisible trap. They're essentially contaminating the space around Uranus, making it one of the most hostile environments in the solar system. This uncertainty is what makes everything more frightening. Not knowing the exact source means we can't predict the intensity or behavior of these belts. They may pulse, they may change shape, they may become even more intense, depending on their interaction with moons and rings. It's a dynamic and unpredictable threat, a danger we can't see, only measure when it's already too late. So even if you had a super-advanced spacecraft, approaching Uranus would be like walking blindfolded through a radioactive minefield. One miscalculation, one unexpected eruption of particles, and your ship's systems would be destroyed, and any hope of survival would disappear in a flash of invisible radiation. Uranus doesn't need to crush you or freeze you. It can kill you from a distance, silently. There's a final and terrible paradox in Uranus, a contradiction that defies logic. Uranus is officially the coldest planet in our solar system. Temperatures at the top of its clouds can plummet to -371 degrees Fahrenheit. It's colder even than Neptune, which is much farther from the Sun. All this coldness is partly due to that cataclysmic impact that, besides knocking the planet over, may have allowed much of its primordial internal heat to escape into space. So we have the image of a frozen world, a cosmic ice cream ball, almost inert, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. Despite being the coldest planet, Uranus has one of the most violent and dynamic atmospheres we've ever observed. It's a frozen giant that harbors an inferno of furious winds. Winds on Uranus can reach speeds of up to 560 miles per hour. That's almost the speed of sound. Imagine supersonic winds blowing across a world that's more than 200 degrees below zero. It's a combination that makes no sense. Where does the energy come from to fuel these monstrous winds on a planet that has almost no internal heat? This is another of Uranus's great anomalies. The little sunlight that reaches there seems to be enough to create temperature differences that generate these extreme weather systems. And they're not just constant winds. Uranus has storms, giant storms. For a long time, we thought the planet was a boring blue sphere, but more recent observations with powerful telescopes like Hubble and Keck revealed the truth. Uranus's atmosphere is alive and furious. There are storm systems the size of continents, bright clouds of frozen methane that appear and disappear, indicating violent climatic activity. One of these storms was observed in 2014. It was so bright and massive that astronomers compared it to the great dark spot seen on Neptune. It was irrefutable proof that, under its serene appearance, Uranus is a cauldron of atmospheric fury, a place where extreme cold and climatic violence coexist in a way we don't see anywhere else. It's the final paradox. A world frozen on the outside, but with the fury of a hurricane inside. It's like finding an iceberg that harbors an erupting volcano in its interior. Uranus's atmosphere is a trap. It attracts you with its light blue and calm color. But if you could dive into it, you would be instantly frozen and at the same time torn apart by winds that would rip through steel. This impossible climate is the final touch in Uranus's nightmare portrait, a planet that was beaten, that has a broken magnetic heart, an alien ocean in its interior that is surrounded by deadly radiation, and that, to complete it, hides a climatic fury under a disguise of icy tranquility. Uranus isn't a planet, it's a monument to the universe's capacity to be brutal, strange, and infinitely terrifying. We've reached the end of our journey through the frozen hell of Uranus. We've passed through the night that lasts a lifetime, through the chaotic magnetic heart, through the superionic ice ocean, through the radiation traps and the paradoxical climate. Each fact is more bizarre and scary than the other. Uranus shows us that even in our own cosmic neighborhood, there are worlds that completely defy our understanding and remind us of how small and fragile we are in the face of the immensity and violence of the universe. Now I want to know from you, after everything we've seen, which of these Uranus realities did you find most frightening? The idea of being trapped in a night that lasts 42 years, an endless darkness that extends for decades, or the image of that internal ocean, a dark and hot mass of superionic ice, electrically alive, crushing diamonds in its depths. Leave your opinion here in the comments. I really want to know what most stirred your imagination. And of course, if you, like me, enjoy exploring the darkest, strangest, and most fascinating corners of our universe, don't forget to leave that like to strengthen our work, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Activate notifications, the famous bell, so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. There's much more mystery out there for us to uncover together. Thanks for watching, and until next time.